Hi, everyone. Today, my topic is about giving and receiving feedback as a hackathon organizer. So to quickly introduce myself, my name is Selynna. I am currently an MLH coach, and I founded and am lead director of SLO Hacks. So shout out to all my SLO Hacks people. All right, so let's get started. So what is feedback? Feedback is information about how someone is doing in the process of reaching a goal. And it's a two-way conversation between any two people. For example, peer-to-peer, director and member, and vice versa. There are certain places and times where feedback is given, and there is non-urgent and urgent feedback. So for non-urgent feedback, this can be given in the form of an email, in person, or over a call, and is given privately. It can be given at any time except when members are dealing with a stressful situation, but preferably the sooner the better. Feedback should be relevant, and a good rule of thumb is to compliment in public, but give other feedback in private. However, on the other hand, for urgent feedback, this should be privately given in person through a one-on-one, and if that's absolutely not possible, a call. And it should be given as soon as possible, and ensure it's important and relevant. So feedback is obviously important, but why? So it's good to identify areas of improvement, show a willingness to change and improve, show the existence of a growth mindset, encourage discussion amongst team members, and ultimately builds trust on a team if people can give feedback to each other. And finally, feedback helps us grow as hackathon organizers. So to give a couple of guidelines about giving feedback, I have a couple of do's and don'ts. So for the don'ts, don't give unjustified feedback with no basis, or make ad hominem attacks, which I'll define later. Make sure to not give feedback that people can't immediately take action on, and don't give first-round feedback over email because it's easy to be misinterpreted. So just to define ad hominem attacks, this is a piece of feedback that is directed at you versus the work the person is doing. So for example, if I say, hey, you're not a very good hackathon organizer, then I can say, well, that's like obviously offensive, and it's directed towards me, but not the work I'm actually doing. So to contrast that, what you can do is give feedback that is actionable and discussable, give specific areas of improvement that you can help with, recommend resources that you can help them improve with, ensure confidentiality, own your feedback, and give good feedback for encouragement. So let's go through an example. Let's say that an attendee tells me, hey, your hackathon looked bad, which makes it difficult to get sponsors and attendees to come back. Wow, I don't really know what to do with this feedback except that my hackathon was bad, but I don't know what to improve. So a better way to phrase this would be, your judging seemed extremely rushed and the process for hackers was unclear. Allotting more time to judging and briefing attendees on the process might be something to consider for next year's event. Now I know something that I can fix, so judging was very rushed and the process was unclear, and now I have an actionable to work on. So if there is someone giving feedback, there is always someone receiving feedback. And I have guidelines for these as well. So don't justify your own actions against given feedback or ignore feedback. It takes time and effort to give good quality feedback, and ignoring it is extremely disrespectful. So what you can do is acknowledge and discuss feedback, identify areas of improvement, set specific next steps and milestones for another check-in, and check back in to assess improvement and thank the feedback giver. So to stem off the other example, if the attendee says, your judging seems extremely rushed and the process was unclear, allotting more time to judging and briefing attendees on the process might be something to consider for next year's event. Let's say I said, well, actually, in my opinion, sponsors told me that judging went well. I bet it was fine for attendees too. This is extremely dismissive of the feedback someone is taking the time to give me. So a better response might be, thanks for the feedback. It's helpful to see this from an attendee's perspective, and I'll work with my hacker experience team to ensure we're more prepared for judging next year. Do you have any tips on improving judging? This immediately shows that you're acknowledging the feedback and willing to discuss it, showing that you already have a specific actionable in mind, improving the hacker experience team, and you're thanking the feedback giver by saying, thanks for the feedback. So some main takeaways. Feedback helps us as organizers improve over time, and feedback should be actionable and discussable. It helps us identify areas of improvement, and it's important to be respectful when giving or receiving feedback. Finally, since all of us are college students and are about to go into the workforce, this is a life skill. It's not just for hackathons. You frequently see feedback sessions run through like managers to workers, especially in like internships and full-time jobs. So thank you for listening. If you want to contact me, I'll post these slides on my Twitter after the talk. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Selynna. That was awesome. Great work.